So I'm gonna get this off here. I'll show you the next step to getting this tire ready to race. It's the last step. It may be the most important. So there's one guy that knows how important this is. His name's Kyle. All right, I fibbed. I said I was racing this last week. I had a graduation. It's supposed to have been Friday night, get rained out. Pushed to Saturday. So I went to the graduation. Missed out on the racing, which ended up raining out anyways. So I guess I wouldn't have had any video either way. So anyways, today is Wednesday, May 24th. There's no racing at St. Francis County this weekend. Memorial Day weekend coming up. And so I'm going to be running Doe Run Friday night. It's a 750 to win. 750 to win, 30 lap B-Mod race. I think they got all the regular classes plus vintage cars, so it should be a fun night. But this thing's all back together. I got a new nose for it. Painted this one blue instead of white. So, part deux. It's just sitting on there. I'm getting ready to take the nose off, drill those holes through, bolt that bumper on. So we're good to go with that. Then I got to do a little tire maintenance. Got to mount up a different tire. Got to do a little grooving. I'll show you my tire machine. Kind of like my, when I do my setup. My scales, my scale right there. There's my scale. I'll show you my tire machine. And you'll be really impressed. So, anyways, I guess I'm going to, it's boring stuff. I'm going to get my bumper bolted on and show you how to make tires great again. So, here we go. Just like that. She's bolted on there. Got a new nose. My wife says she loves walking out here every morning and my car sticking its tongue out at her when she goes to school. She thinks that's funny. But anyways, been off work haven't been racing the last few weeks, so sometimes going into race season, between building the car and getting into race season, your garage gets to be a mess. I was able to take a little time and get this thing cleaned up a little. It's nice to have a little room and not be on top of everything. So I did get my garage cleaned up a little bit. But anyways, so now I'm going to get ready to do a little tire maintenance. And so got to get ready for a big 30 lapper. I need to do a little grooving on that one because the old left rear's starting to get a little used up. So I'll show you my tire machine. So I throw my YouTube up. I got a couple guys that leave me some comments, nice comments. You know, somebody's watching them. But there's this guy called my dad. He watches 2 YouTube channels. He watches mine, and he loves watching Kenny Wallace's. So somehow I get compared to Kenny Wallace like I'm competing against him. But my dad says I need to be more funny like Kenny. I'm not Kenny. I don't know too many people that are like Kenny. I can't be that funny. But anyways, so my dad says I got to get funnier, which here, it just comes natural. I look more stupid or make fun of myself than I am about being funny. But anyways, so now I got him sending me jokes, you know. So now he's sending me jokes to put in these videos. So this is the joke I'm supposed to put at the beginning of the video because, you know, I'm funny. So here we go. Hopefully I can remember this because I don't think I can go back and look at my text. What do you call a parade of rabbits hopping backwards? And my dad knows a whole lot about this. Now that's funny. It's called a receding hairline. He's a funny guy, you know. It hasn't quite got to me yet, but my dad's, his goes all the way back to about right there. Yeah, it's got him. So, but that's funny. He's a funny guy. I ought to get him on here. So, and then he told me I need to close with, what is an astronaut's favorite part of a computer? You can tell these are dad jokes. In fact, these are great-grandpa jokes. Is he great-grandpa? What's an astronaut's favorite part of a computer? The space bar. Who knew? It's so obvious. Yeah. So, anyways, there's your jokes, Dad. Hopefully you got a good laugh out of it. All right. So I got a new right rear ready to go. She's slightly used, so I'm gonna grind it, but I'm not gonna do it in here where I just cleaned my garage out last night. So I'll do it out here. And while I'm doing that, I'll get my groover warming up so I can groove my left rear up, get that one ready to go. So one step down. All right, so I got my right rear ready to go. Now I want to get a left rear prepared. And this tire here, I'd already took the grinder to it and then grooved it, but I only half grooved it. I didn't groove it enough. So I'm gonna finish grooving this thing and get it ready for Friday night. And then, so I'll unwrap it and get it on the tire machine. And we'll have it ready to go. We'll have a set of rears for come feature time for a 30 lapper. All right, so this here is the red green tire machine. If you know what I mean, you know anything about red green. That old left rear, and I don't want to brag, but man, when you're in a pinch and you need to be grinding, somebody be grooving, I actually got 2 tire machines. I got one right there too. When I'm in a pinch, I got 2 tire machines. So I just throw that sucker on there, spinner and groover. And you know, I wish I had a tire machine, but I do, kinda. It's what I've always used. So I just throw a couple bolts in her and a couple bolts. I don't even know what I'm talking about. That's why you don't listen to me. Throw a couple lug nuts on there. In fact, I only need really one. And we are ready to rock and roll. So, man, TV really does add 10 pounds. But anyways, here, let me pull this down a little. So, but here, I don't know if I've ever given you any background, what I've got here, what I run. And I mean, I know most of you know it's a modified. I know all the guys that I know exactly what it is. This is, what is this, 2013, or, geez Louise. This is 2023. This is an 02 or an 03 Brent Thompson car. He's a local guy that used to build a few cars back in the day. And so it's an oldie, but it works and it runs pretty good. But anyways, I figured while I'm grooving, maybe I'll talk to you. If I don't like what I'm saying, we'll just time lapse it. No big deal. But anyways, so this is a, I pretty much built it as a UMP Pro Mod. I mean, I got the Pro Mod shocks on it. It's pretty much legal Pro Mod, but I run Farmington. So, so yeah, which is kind of a open beam mod track. They kind of use their own rules. It's kind of a mix between open motor and crate, and but the crates do pretty good with the open motors. So I used to run, so basically, here, I'll go back when I was a kid, me and Mark, my uncle, which a few episodes back, I know you, and the ones that know me and know Mark, he's my uncle. He's 6 months older than me, but we grew up like brothers. Anyways, when we were kids, if it wasn't my mom and dad taking us to the racetrack, it was definitely my Uncle Randy, which is Mark's brother, my mom's brother, back then, to the track I race at now most time, San Francisco. But back then it was Empire Speedway, and so we've had a liking for dirt track racing our whole life. I wasn't fortunate enough to do it though until I think 28 was the first year. I went in the military straight out of high school, and so which when I was stationed in Hawaii. There's one dirt track over there, but it was all right. So I didn't go to it too much. But after Hawaii, I got stationed in Little Rock, and used to go to I-30 Speedway and BB every week. And then when I got out of the military, I told my wife I wanted to start racing. And the only thing she asked is that I took the kids to Florida first. So what do you think I did? I bought that Florida trip for the next year, and I bought me a mini stocks, what I started out in that winter. I was actually racing before we went on the trip. So, but it didn't matter. We done had it paid for. That was the deal. And I started out with mini stocks. Bought my first mini stock from Keith Buckley, an old S10. Got my feet wet. I ran that from 2002 to 2006. 2007, I went B-Mod racing with the crate, which back then, there really wasn't any B-Mods running crates. That was in 2007. But they were just getting, I think it was called the Fast Track. It had the crate late model series that they were just starting around here. So my dad worked for Chevrolet. He worked for a dealership, and he had a connection with one of the local dealerships that sold the crates. We're Chevrolet, and so we kind of worked out a deal and got a crate for the B-Mod. I was the only one running it back then, but back then you didn't get any advantages. I mean, 2-barrel. Back then you couldn't run Berger Brenz. It was 3-speed Saginaw, 10.5-inch clutch, whatever. So first 2 years in the old crate in the B-Mod, I finished second points behind Kyle Stolzer, so that was a pretty good start in the modifieds. And then I went A-Mod racing after that. I really wasn't planning on doing it, but then I found out my dad was looking for an A-Mod. Mark told me that we was gonna go A-Mod racing. So anyways, I sold my B-Mod. Between me and my dad, we bought an A-Mod, and I was off and running after that A-Mod racing from end of 2008 through 2012, and it was fun. But then I was getting ready to sell my house. I was going to get out of it. Sold my car, sold everything. I sold everything racing, and but then I bought a mini stock so that me and Crystal, Mark's wife, kind of surprised him. Got a mini stock. Me and him was going to team drive. He helped me all those years, and he'd never got the opportunity to race, so this was perfect. We were taking turns driving, so we both pitched in and bought the mini stock, little Ford Mustang, and we split driving it for 1 year, and we won quite a few features. Him too. I mean, he definitely didn't look like the first time he had raced, but me and him had been racing since the Indy 500 on Atari, circle track, ice track, to dirt track racing, to iRacing, and that was before everybody was iRacing. That was just back me, him, and Andrew Nosley was the only ones around here I think that did it. That was before they had dirt, and so he didn't look like a rookie out there. He won a few features. I won a few features with it, and then I had sold my house because I was building, and he pretty much took over the mini stock. Ran it a few more years while I was building, and so I wasn't planning on racing again until I was done building, sitting around twiddling my thumbs, and a buddy of mine, CJ Wright, said, "Hey, my old car's for sale. What? And you want to split it?" And I said, "Yeah, let's do it. I don't want to run full time." And but by the time, so we both split it. We got the car, got it built. But he's also a high school softball coach who coaches during the summer with his daughter's team at that time. So he was really kind of too busy for it. So I took over the reins, and since 2000, I think I built this thing in 18. I raced it in 19 a couple nights, but pretty much 20, 21, or 21, 22, and 23, I've been running this old car. It's got a 602 crate in it, and runs pretty good. It's an old car, but you know, it doesn't know any different. It's 3-link, so that's kind of my history of racing. Pretty quick, but yeah. So now I'm trying to slow down and get out of it. It's kind of hard to do. I mean, you've been doing it for so long, it feels like it's kind of part of you. Now the grandkids are all into it. The grandkids identify Peepaw with the race car, so you know, it's like, man, you kind of want to keep racing so they kind of have those memories, because they're still pretty young. They'll remember them because of the videos and everything, but you know, we have good family time. But racing's kind of outpriced itself. I don't know why I still do it. I try to do it on a low enough budget to still be competitive, but not have to spend any more than I got to. I mean, that's just how I am. Honestly, when I was in mini stocks, I was just as tight as I am with a B mod, just as tight as I am with an A mod. And so I've always been competitive in every class. I've always, the A mod's the only one I hadn't won a feature, but back in the day, we ran dashes. I ran won a few dashes, won some heat races. I think I finished, you know, second a bunch of times. I never beat all the guys on the same night. I could beat a few of them, just couldn't beat them all on the same night, but it was still fun. You know, especially on the budget that I was on. And so with this car, it's the same way, kind of just, man, I got off on my lines here somewhere. Come on, come back to me. Yeah, that's goofy. I don't drink, but it sure looks like I did that day. Whenever I grooved this. It just looked a little funny right there. But anyway, so that's the racing deal. I kind of just, you know, I do this YouTube thing. I've always put my heat races and features up online. And man, me and Mark, we've always had crazy ideas. I know back in the day, Kenny Harris used to go around and kind of do, you know, garage interviews with guys. We always thought that was cool. We had actually talked about that before, but I didn't think I really had the personality to kind of be out there doing that. I really don't know a lot of the guys. Mark does. You know, I went away in the military. Then I come back and I start racing, and you're kind of in your own little world when you're racing. You start racing, you don't get to really watch everybody else. So I'm a little more intentional about making my rounds around the pits now, getting to know a lot of other guys. But you know, I mean, I still probably wouldn't do it, but I think it'd be cool to have somebody local that kind of goes around, knows the local racing scene, got a lot of connections. That was kind of cool back then. But like I said, I've always done video editing and putting it on YouTube, but it was just heats and features. And then you know, Hunt the Front, I think I caught those guys about the middle of their first year when they were pretty new. Started watching them, and then Tim Nash started doing it. Those guys do awesome. They do great. You know, I mean, I watch them all, and I even watch some of the smaller YouTube channels where guys, you know, they don't have the audience that those guys do, but I like watching, you know, a little bit more of the low budget guy, the everyday racer, watching them, you know, figure their way through it, battle, you know, so I'm like, you know what, I've always kind of wanted to do it. I didn't know if I could sit in front of a camera and talk to it, which is still a little awkward. I'm not gonna lie, it's not really me. Actually, if I don't know you and I'm in a crowd with a lot of people, I'm usually a pretty quiet guy unless I really know the people. But I thought, man, you know, you don't want anybody to think, oh, I'm trying to be those guys or whatever. But I'm really doing this for the kids, but I kind of do it for fun. I mean, I enjoy it. It's probably not the greatest channel out there, but it's something that my grandkids can look back on one day and they'll see themselves on there and they'll hear me on here talking crazy. You know, so kind of put yourself out there a little bit, because everybody's got their own way of doing things. And so I'm probably not always doing it the right way. I just do what works for me. And but yeah, that's about it. I'm almost done grooving this tire. Once I get this one grooved, I'll show you my next step of making tires great again. So I got with this GoPro, I can't see it. So I got my phone sitting here. So I keep looking over here. My camera's right here. I don't know. Here, I'm not made for TV. You know what I mean? I'm made to be seen and not heard. Or maybe even not that. But anyways, I really need to groove the inside of this just a little bit. Oh, I got it. Never mind. So now, got me a nice groove tire ready to go for the left rear for Friday night. This bad dog is makes me new tires. So I'll have to let that cool down. But 2 years ago, I bought 12 tires in 1 year. And but back then they were 140, maybe 150 bucks a tire. And I was running for points pretty much that year. Almost won it, finished second in points, but I was winning enough to pay for my tires at least. And then I guess COVID hit. Was that before that? I think COVID was before that. Anyways, when COVID hit, price of tires all of a sudden skyrocketed, and you know, they're 200 bucks a piece now. And so last year they started letting us groove tires, and so I dug out my old ones, gave them a nice, took the tire grinder to them, cleaned them up, grooved them. And so last year I only bought 2 new tires, and I was still finishing top 5 for the most part. So I'm like, well shoot, maybe I was spending too much money on tires. So I'm still riding it out. I only bought 2 tires last year and grooved up my old ones. And this year so far, I haven't bought any new tires. Now I think come probably into June, I'm gonna have to buy a couple. But, you know, I'll get through the first half of the season on used tires. You groove these things up and give them a nice grind, kind of brings them back to life for a little bit. I'm glad they let us groove them, helps us out, saves us some money. But I know that's probably gonna end one day. So anyways, I see my GoPro battery's about dead. But so I'm gonna get this off here. I'll show you the next step to getting this tire ready to race. It's the last step. It may be the most important. So there's one guy that knows how important this is. His name's Kyle Jarrett, and he never misses this step. So you'll see what it is in just a second. All right, the last step. Call it the Kyle Jarrett step. I hope he sees this. So I'm gonna turn this around. There's my tire. You know, that's an old used tire that I've ground up, I've grooved, trying to make it great, but it's not quite there yet. You know, she's been through the mud a little bit. Those old dingy Hoosier letters. Hey, take you an old mud plug, you stick that on there. I took me an old Hoosier tire sidewall, cut that out. You know what I mean? You know what's fixing to happen? Gotta make her great again. It's the last step. Now, Mama Jarrett, she knows all about this pain. She sits there all winter and she takes a little whiteout brush and she hand paints that stuff. Oh, hold on, I'm one-handing it. Each little letter, I mean, she is dedicated. She does that for her boy, Mr. Kyle Jarrett. And man, Kyle really needs to hook her up with one of these. You know what I mean? Man, you just hit that. I mean, it is that quick. Who's your baby? Who's your daddy? You know, man, everybody thinks they gotta go out and buy new tires to run with me now. I got them all psyched out. They're out spending money on tires. I'm just spending money on paint. That's all. You know what I mean? It's not perfect. But, you know, 60 mile an hour or 60 feet away, that one there got a little sloppy. I usually use two hands, kind of hold that a little closer to it so I don't get the blur. But, you know what? They're going to be thinking when I pull up there, pulling the track, uh-oh, Bill bolted on the new rubber. No, that's just, you know, making tires great again. So when you guys see those white lettered tires, look, that one's about due. I might have to take that one off. I just can't, I can't have that on there and have that. Of course, that's where this one's going. This is my left rear. But that one I painted at the beginning of the year. It's holding up pretty good, you know. So I mean, no joking aside, I like to paint the right rears because I can see how much it's rolling over. You can see where's that paint off. So that one there, I actually haven't painted because that's the one of the new tires, one of the two new tires I bought last year. And it just happened to go in the right front because I needed a right front real bad. So that's the original paint on that one. But all those, well, not that one, the one I just mounted up. Did you see one down in there? Oh yeah, that's making tires great again. Just an old used tire. So I know, make fun of me. It's just paint, it's white letters. But it looks cool, you know. Some guys say, I don't even know if that makes sense. You know, can't be the show. Or what is it? Can't win the show, be the show. Well, I'm just being the show, trying, me and Lightning. You know, when Lightning, I mean, I don't have anything that says Goodyear with Lightning McQueen on it. But, you know, Hoosiers is good as it gets. Man, that really kind of oversprayed a little bit on that one. But you know what? It's good. Give them a wash, a grind, a groove, and the Kyle Jarrett lettering. So if you guys want any ideas, just take you an old tire and cut the sidewall out. I used to use a paper template, but it gets so many coats of paint, I used a poster board, and it gets kind of crappy. So cut the sidewall of a tire out. Take you an X-Acto knife, cut the letters out, and whammo. You got new tires for days, you know. So, all right, I'll quit rambling. I know that's silly. Yeah, I get bored in this garage by myself, you know. Now I got to clean up that mess. I just cleaned this garage up. Now I got to clean up all that. But, so, I'm done rambling. I don't know if I'm using, I might have the history of me in that video if I didn't sound silly. Or maybe I just don't care. Maybe I just sound silly and put it up. But anyways, this Friday night, Doe Run Raceway, 30 lapper, $750 to win. And I'll have the whole family in town. My son's coming to town with all the kids, grandkids, his wife. I guess it's my grandkids, it's his kids, whatever. And my daughter's crew will be there. So there will be 14 of us, counting two babies that are a year old or under a year. So there'll be 14 of us at the track Friday night. So maybe we can put it on the front straightaway and get that picture. As soon as I get that picture with all the grandkids, I got one picture with my daughter's kids. I think one of them might have been missing. Of course, they were all asleep because we ran last that night. But last year. But anyways, I can park this thing on the front straightaway and get all my kids and grandkids, me and my wife, in that one big picture. She might be for sale the next day. That's what's keeping me racing right now. But if you want to put it on the front straightaway, you probably need to work a little harder than I do. Put a little more money in it than what I do. So, you know, we'll just see. But we'll give it a shot. So, see you Friday night.